All right. I believe it says we are live. A few seconds late, but we were having a great conversation behind the scenes. Welcome, everyone, to Old Gray Bricks. This is our Thursday night live show, and we have a full house, and we have friends trying to get in. I hope maybe later you will be able to, so hang around, stick around in the chat, and we already have folks in the chat, which is amazing. We have folks hanging around early, so we got Howie's here. Howie's in line. Brahm is here. Brick and Mad is in the chat. That's awesome, Maddie. Good to see you. Matt Robbins just joined in. So we are super grateful that you have chosen to join us tonight to talk. We do have a special, two guests here. Look at there. Some Brickmasters showed up. What's going on, guys? Glad you guys are here. We'll get to you guys in a minute, but it's good to see you. Y'all doing all right?
Doing pretty good. Yep, doing great. Busy, but good.
Is life kind of weird right now? I mean, just go ahead.
Yeah. It's different. It's a bit different now. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, we're glad you're here. We're going to get to you guys have a good long chat with y'all about Brickmasters, and that's kind of our theme for tonight. We're going to talk about our thoughts on the show, and if you guys need to close your ears when we talk about you, that'll be fine. Yeah, that'll be good. But let's do a quick spin around the room, especially since we missed Monday for the holiday. Quick spin around the room, see what everybody's up. Quick spin. You got 3 minutes. Cutting you off. All right, let's go to our resident Canadian for the day, Jeff Van Winden. What's up with your world, man? You're muted, dude.
That's very quick.
You guys can take it off of your time.
So in Canada, we start our conversations in mute. Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't know. I ran out of something to say. Jeez. So yeah, busy week, I guess. In the past few weeks, or in the past week, I was did a stream did a couple of videos over the weekend where I built a small Land Rover Defender in white instead of the olive.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Olive green. Now I've had to take it apart twice already because I was spinning the front wheels and the back wheels were going backwards. So I flipped the differentials around there.
Did you build it in metric or Imperial to get that to happen?
Both, I think.
I think it's the same
metric,
thing,
back end Imperial. I think that's what happened. So, but I now have some bags of olive green that I'm going to throw up on my Bricklink store, I think, and sell off just to recoup some of the costs of it.
Cool.
But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting idea with all the white parts that were available. I might as well. Thanks, Manny. I might as well, do something a little different than everybody else. And I think that's about it for now. Just I did pull something out last night because in my chat we were talking about hockey tiles.
Hockey tiles.
Of course you were.
Because we were Canadian after all. So what else were we talking about, right? In fact, we were watching the game while we were playing while we were chatting because David had the game on behind him. But yeah, so I was just showing off my bank of tiles.
Yeah, I think I bought up a bunch of those with the desire to brasso that stuff off, so I have big white tiles, but they're still in the drawer. So
you still haven't made them in white, anyhow, from what I remember.
Right, they haven't, and those grooves on that are pretty deep with the texture, so it's hard to get that off. Hey, remind everybody when your live stream is.
Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. Don't show up at 9 a.m. because I'm not going to do that. But yeah, 9 p.m. Eastern, Wednesday nights on VW Bricks YouTube channel.
Because you are coming right after this guy. What's up? How are you today, man?
Oh, are you asking how I am? I'm okay. I did some building. This is as far as I got where I said my fingers hurt.
Yeah. Oh, you building the Corvette or you building the jalopy?
I'm building the fancy number one.
Gotcha.
Also, on that show you guys don't watch on Wednesday, this is how far we got.
Nice.
So there.
And where did you get that fancy Technic set that you were building there?
I was minding my own business, getting sunburned, and all of a sudden, Dana shakes his phone, and then they hand me Lego.
He has a magic phone.
It was the Pete Slug meeting outside BurgerFi, which Brittany got me a Wagyu beef burger, and it was awesome.
Good. Good.
That's what I've been up to.
So I really, I don't Technic, so I hadn't really explored that box, but the number 2 model on that box is a hot rod jalopy kind of thing, and it is tons better than that Corvette. It's like in that set.
I'm gonna put it back in the box and get when I get done with it, and then take it to Atlanta Brick Company on June 26th and say, "You want this? I want something better."
And that is a reminder on June the 26th. A lot of us in this chat and some others are going to be gathering at Atlanta Brick Company. So just make sure y'all don't dump a bunch of tires in the pick a brick bucket.
That's what I got last time, was a whole bunch of tires.
Dude, there were so many tires.
Plastic tires and
so Chris
tires.
Chris did tell me that to give a heads up at least 2 days before we come down to make sure that they pour some good stuff into the pick a brick for us.
23 days, boys. 23 days.
Not me, Chris, but the Chris who actually matters with all the bricks. Yeah.
Mr. Cott. Can we call him Mr. Cott? I don't know if anybody calls him Mr.
Also, we got new people, so we need a basement tour. We got people coming from Missouri just to come see you guys.
Missouri. That's awesome.
Missouri.
We'll all do the basement tour. It'll be great. Yeah.
Hey, look, InTalk is here. How you doing? Good to see you. Axle Plate is here. That's awesome. Brick Studio, welcome. So glad you could join us as well. We got some folks from Ireland watching us. That's super awesome. All right, let's go around the room. Jeff, man, what is going on in your Lego world? You have a new background. What is up with that?
Oh, so we totally moved, and this is the only room that's usable to sleep and function in currently. Because we decided we should remodel the left side of the house. So we did that. Well, we're doing that. And this is going to be the craft room. Emily and I are both crafty. So this will be Lego and where our computers are and stuff like that. So it's just a better way to spend time with each other. But I've been going through boxes of Lego and deciding what's staying and what's being broken down for parts.
That's awesome. Can I also say that I am just almost just begging that your dog would throw a dump down right there behind you in the doorway. Right. That would have been the funniest thing ever.
Yeah,
I agree.
And at first I was like, is that a cat? Because I thrown that up, but it was not a cat. So it was just your dog. Super awesome.
Is that Maddie's cat you just threw up there?
4 Indiana Jones sets that I have.
Oh, wow.
I'm kind of thrilled about it. And also at my local toy store, I found this as a mock in a Lego bin.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So I was like, wait a minute. And then I did some research and found out some everything else. Like they had like the toy Jeeps from Toy Story.
Yep.
Sweet.
And some of the army men from there. So I've just been sorting. And Madeline sent me a bunch of parts. She sent me the windows that she said she would send me, and as well as the stagecoach from the Lone Ranger. So
awesome.
lots of stuff going on. I'll give you a better view of what's exactly happening. So those are most of the space minifigures that I found, as well as the adventure stuff I'm trying to do. Those are my boxers in the background. You're all welcome.
Oh, good. Thanks.
Yeah, and this is half Star Wars stuff and half medieval stuff, castle stuff. Castle stuff's going towards the end that is somewhere in a box so that I can, get that ready for Brick Rodeo in July. And I've got some stuff to send Julian because he's going to ABC, and ABC is a 14-hour car drive for me. Otherwise, I'd be going. So I hope they want Captain America, because I got Captain America.
You're our Captain America. I just want you to say. That's awesome. Jeff, we're so excited that you've made the move and landed, and that's awesome. That looks like an amazing place. So that's super cool. Let's welcome some folks in the chat. Brad Hoopa is there. Nerd Brick 101, Everett B. Welcome. So glad you guys are here. All right, let's go to the man, the myth, the legend, Adrian. Adrian, what's going on in your world, man?
So I've been doing what everyone always does, which is sort. As you see over that way over there, I bought a bunch of those Iris 6-drawer cabinets from Joann's a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and
that's sexy.
Hey, Brick,
see, that's how many we've got. That's how many new ones we've got, and you see how much of it I've got filled, and then you see how much more I've still got. If I keep panning over here, you can see all that crap behind it that's still got to go. But I'm kind of working on that. And I bought a friend's collection a few years ago when he was having money troubles, and I finally yesterday sorted the last of that into those things and into a bunch of these things, which I use for sorting. This one's really cool. This is all of my 1x1 or most of my 1x1 plates. So this is a sexy tub right here.
Nice.
So I've been doing all this.
It is.
I've been doing all that kind of stuff. I've been filling those trays. I've been on this side, which you can't see, is my gigantic sorting system of old, which was just plastic totes full of parts. And
there's nothing wrong with starting that way.
Yeah,
There's nothing
and plastic
wrong with
totes
starting.
full of parts, full of Ziploc bags. So what I'm trying to do is make it so that each one of these has only a single piece in it. And so I'll find somewhere else to put all these 1x1 Technic beams, and just trying to make it so that I can find everything a little easier. Now that I've been in this new house for 5 or 6 months, I'm really starting to kind of like spread everything out so that I can actually find everything, because that was a real hard time before I could do that. So,
Hey, Adrian,
so that's what I'm up to.
sorry. With the size of your collection, because you build huge things, right?
I do.
And with the size of your collection, I'm quite surprised you don't actually sort by color first.
Some stuff I do sort by color. Generally, I just sort by piece type.
Okay.
I find it easier to find, like, let's say I need, because I could sort a tub like this. These 1x2 Technic bricks.
Yeah.
I could sort them again, but if I just need, a certain color, I can just root through here and find it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to dump a bunch of Technic beams into one. I don't know. This is just kind of what I did when I started my collection started getting big, and I went by piece type, and I've just kind of maintained that throughout here. Some stuff is sorted by color as well. Generally, basic bricks are sorted by color instead of by piece type, or they're sorted by color and piece type. And then, like I showed you with these 1x1 plates, they're sorted by color as well. Generally, I just sort by piece type.
Awesome. It's awesome. So the Iris drawers, were they on sale at Joann's or something, like a good deal, or did you just?
Yeah, it's like $24 a piece, down from 50.
Not bad.
Really?
Yeah, it was a pair of stacked coupons. They were it was $50 regular price, and then they were like 30% off, and then there was another like 20% off Memorial Day coupon on top of that.
Wow.
That's a screaming deal, because normally those things are like $75 or more. So
they're
that's a
$50. Yeah.
Or were they normally 50? All right.
They're
But
50.
still,
yeah,
that's a great deal.
Yeah. So I bought 12, and I could have gone and bought like 8 more, but I don't have another table to put them on. And I've got, if I rotate around my camera around this way, you can see all of the empty containers that I've got stacked up on the corner there that I have to do something with.
Look at
so
all
I've
those
got put.
Look at those tubs.
Yeah, see, that's my overflow of the overflow. That's like basic bricks that I don't need sorted right now. There's about 4 of those tubs are full of plastic and rubber tires, because
Nobody needs tires.
nobody needs that many tires. Yeah, so my collection is kind of like it's all over the place, and I'm trying to make it a little easier to work with now that I've got the space to do it. So.
It is quite neat and tidy, and so those of me sitting in my room going, I'm such a slouch, because my room is not. So,
just trying to keep everything I just need to know where everything is.
Understand. Welcome to folks in the chat. The Brick Burrow is here. Good to have you here, man. So glad. Brickanizer is here. Good to have you here. So, all right, let's see. Go around the room. Rich, man, what's going on in your world, buddy?
Wow. So exciting things for me. Finally got my other push out display window finished, as far as the UV film in, move the pirate layout display over to that on a shelf that I installed in there. And now I'm working on the island, and I'm not going to show it to you now because it's still a work in progress, but check my Instagram, Richard Shamus, and you'll see progress, pictures of that as it goes. And I got another double stacks worth of these. These are $12. 3 drawers at.
What's that drawer on the top? The drawer on the top.
Drawer on the top. No, these are at Target.
Coming down.
$12 each. So 4 of those make 1 stack. I've got 8 for 2 stacks. They'll be going in soon. And so lots of work to do. But this weekend, I have to take a break because I'm going to go down to Manassas, Virginia for the Railway History Celebration in Manassas and do a big Lego display with my homies in Virginia for Womble LTC.
I thought we were your homies. Whatever.
Well, you're my second homies, okay?
All right. Oh, good. Just a second. All right.
And speaking that, a display like that for Womble LTC and at Brick Fair, Virginia, count as events that you participate in to get your lug book.
Ah.
Of course, that's not beef lug, but still.
Just to bring that back around.
Valid comment.
Hello,
comment.
Evan. Good to have you here. Glad you're joining us here. Is that Evan? Is that Evan from our lug?
I was going to say, is that our Evan? That might be our Evan.
I hope it is our Evan. Good to see you, man. All right. Let's, speaking of Wamalug, let's go to Magnus. Magnus, what's going on, man?
I'm pretty good. I think I showed this. Maybe it wasn't finished. I showed anyway, this is more or less finished. This is a little tanky thing I built. Got to keep up with the small little vehicles in addition to the big projects.
That's awesome.
And the big thing I've actually accomplished recently is I made some headway on the castle. I feel like I lost a bit of momentum, and it was just sort of I kind of knew I had to do a thing on it, and I was just sort of not looking forward to seeing how much of a hassle it would be. But it wasn't so bad once it got started. This is the newly built foundations for the castle. Yeah. So what you see here with these his tanks is basically going to be what looked like the ground floor of what you've seen up until now. And the castle is going to sit on top of this whole thing. So if I move these things away, move that away, then you can see in here, this is going to be like the basement of a castle.
Cool.
Nice.
And then I'm going to surround the whole thing with burps and rock pieces around the edges. But when I'll be able to move them away so that people can look in these doors to sort of see the inside when I'm displaying it.
Awesome. That's
a
cool.
nuclear reactor in the basement?
Excuse me?
Is that a nuclear reactor in the basement?
No, that is I can pull that out so you can see what that is.
Oh, it's dangerous.
When you said that, I knew exactly what you were asking.
Yeah, this is a thing that's actually built to be viewed from the inside. It's got a cutaway bit here, and I'm going to fix it up so it's all the same colors. But this is like a dungeony thing that they put people in, and the only way in is through the top here. This hole here.
The warp core from J.J. Abrams' Star Trek movies.
You mean a beer factory? Yeah.
Or the pit of despair.
Or Thunderdome.
So that's Thunderdome.
And then this thing here will have a section that kind of pulls away. But the idea is that if you look inside from here, it'll look sort of
oculus.
Cool. Hey, can you show our? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying any way you look at it's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, can you spin around and show us the top? Our guests probably haven't seen your Cobra, the Cobra Base that's going on top of this. Can you spin around and show that? Do you have that? This is pretty cool, guys. Check this out. I don't know if y'all are into old G.I. Joe from the 80s, but
so this is what it's gonna. This is gonna be the foundation for this over here.
Nice.
So cool.
Yeah. So when I showed you those little vehicles that I said will be kind of in the basement, be on this level.
Gotcha.
And this thing will sit on that, and that thing is about 12 studs tall. So that's about 2 burps, and then those burps will sort of form a sort of cliff wall, kind of coming down on the outside here.
Yeah, all of us 80s guys see that, and we just instantly go into nostalgia. I go into nostalgia mode. I don't know anybody else. It looks like the toy. You colored it like the toy. You've used the one molded
Yeah.
You know, the radars, the one molded color like the toy, and it's super exciting to see that. I love it. Yeah, I always do. Super cool.
Thanks.
All right, Magnus, we're glad to have you here. See, Neil is here. Mathley, fam. Let's see, Brickbender Underworld is here. Hope I'm not missing folks. I did see Martin was in the chat.
Ooh, Red Carnage.
Red Carnage is here. I've got to go just buy that set just to hold that up every time that guy comes in. Red Carnage is here. John Ruddy is here. So thank y'all for joining us in the chats. Got a good crowd going there. Let's go to Miss Pink Wheels. Pink Wheels, how are you doing today? How is things in your world?
Pretty boring, but
Oh, thanks for joining us. That's great.
but I got my pick-a-brick order.
Ooh,
Horsies.
awesome.
Lots of horsies. I got my 8 reindeer. I was just worried if I didn't order 8 more reindeer or 7 more reindeer that I'd order them at Christmas and I never get them. Got some fun parts. The little cloud part.
Oh, cool.
Ooh, cool.
The new fence part in red. The super snot.
Super Snot is the best name for that part I've heard.
I don't think I've seen that part before.
You haven't?
No.
I think it was a bulk look. I ordered some in like gray. I got a few to tie me over to both.
Wait.
That's
Are
two
they-
of them together,
is it
right?
it's 2 stacked. Okay.
No,
okay,
I just
okay.
have 2 stacks. Sorry.
All right, because at first I thought that was like this huge 1x8x2, and I was like, "What the?"
And then I got some bananas, and I got them in both colors, teal and dark blue.
Nice.
And then I got the new fun coral piece in green. That's about it.
How long did it take your brick?
That's the thing. It only took about 3 weeks.
What?
So they're catching up. That
They're
is good
catching
to
up.
know.
It took literally it took 2 weeks just for shipping for mine to show up.
Mine came on Memorial Day, like not on Saturday. It came on Monday.
That's nuts. That's crazy.
DHL. DHL is not
DHL.
Memorial Day.
Wow.
All right. Let's see. I think we have been to everybody around the room except for our guest and for Dana. So we're going to go to Dana right now and do our Old Gray set of the week as we talk to Dana. Dana, what's up in your world, by the way?
All right. So yeah, we had no Mondays, so it feels like this huge void since last Thursday. So I'm going to try and make this quick, and I'll try to speak as clearly as possible. So first off, last week on Thursday, I was building the ship because there was a guy called AstroBricks _ has these great little ships that he's been doing for like the last 2 years. And I got inside of instructions. I'm like, I got to do my own version of this, which I think, Mark, you've done something like this where it was like a stream of things where like, it was like one guy did his ship and then somebody else collabed onto that and then made it different. I love that idea. I want to get involved with that sometime down the future. So I took this guy's his design and I kind of did my own thing with it. Nice. Of course, I had to do it in orange and gray because orange and gray. A lot of fun. Thrusters move around in the back to do some fun stuff. Some homage to some older things. I love this kind of feel. Kind of gives me that whole SDF-1 feel and with the laser being pointed out and doing some weird stuff like that. So a lot of fun. That had some fun with the landing gear, using some of the new pieces and also some other things. Kind of having a little fun with that. So that was that. That's the only real building thing I did, other than
that small thing.
This thing. I can't say. I mean, I remember when the set came out and it was in the store and it was in the display in the window, and I was like, "That's pretty cool." I don't think. I can put that easily on top of the glass cases in my office.
No, you cannot.
No, I cannot. No, I cannot. It barely fits on top of that thing without bumping into the wall. So it's going to actually sit up on the top of my desk here, which I can move around a little bit. But huge freaking set. I took my time on this. I think I took like 13 days to build it. You know, some days I build 1 or 2 bags. Other days I just didn't build it all. I wanted to enjoy it. There is a lot of great build techniques in this whole upper section here. Chris, I know we talk about like master class and Greebly and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. This definitely falls into that master class and Greebly with all the stuff they've done on the side and even along the edges here, along the port and the stern. Fantastic set. As Julian and I alluded to earlier, Peach Lug did get together for a full day on Saturday. I did hit both stores, our North Point and our Sugarloaf store. After the Sugarloaf store, we all went to BurgerFi and hung out and ate, which was fun, and got to kind of our fellowship of the lug, as I like to call when we get together like that. Mm-hmm. I walked into the North Point store, and my intention was there's a lot of stuff that was coming out Tuesday, like the Everyone is Awesome set and some other stuff that was coming out. And I didn't plan on really buying anything for a full day. So I mean, maybe a couple of pick-a-brick cups or something like that. And then I'm sitting there and I joked around with the store manager. I'm like, so I assume that the Friends apartment is excluded from a full day? And he's like, nope. So needless to say,
yeah.
Bring home the Friends set. And the funny thing was that I was sitting there with Chris Campbell from our lug and Neil, and we all basically all three went, yep, we're taking home the Friends apartment set. 15% off, can't go wrong. And then I show up, I get up to Sugarloaf, and I walk in, and there's Chris. He's like, "Hey, did you know?" I'm like, "It's already in the trunk." It's already in the trunk. So of course, June 1st, we got the Everything is Awesome set. I'm assuming, I don't even know if I should show this.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody's got this bad boy. I actually ordered another one at midnight because I wanted to find something to get my VIP coin with. So I have a second one coming of this, which I'm just going to use for parts and pieces because there's so much good stuff in here. These hairs are going to be great for space team members, alien races and stuff like that. All excited about that. So that was coming out, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to pick that up. And Chris Campbell was actually there, and he and I met and we're chit-chatting. And then for some reason, I thought in my head that the Bad Batch set was coming out on Tuesday. And I came to that stark realization as we're standing in the line. I'm like, oh, all right, well, I guess I'm just going to get the Everyone is Awesome set. And then the store manager comes along the line. He's like, so we've got the Daily Bugle. Do you want to get a Daily Bugle?
Oh, they had one? Dang it.
So needless to say, I had to get the Daily Bugle. So now that I finished the Star Destroyer, because that one, a nice long fun set. So now the next set to be built is going to be the Daily Bugle, because it's got 25 freaking awesome minifigures, and I got to go through and have some for that. So that was my weekend Legos. So Chris, that takes us to the Old Gray Brick set of the week. If you want to go ahead.
I just have to be jealous because Sugarloaf was out. I could not buy the Daily. That's what I went for to possibly get it. So
well, I don't remember how many North Point had in stock when I got there on Tuesday. But I knew, and Chris and I got in this conversation, and I'm like, I'll probably wait for double points. And he made the realization to me that, you know what, there's so many big sets coming out lately that by the time that you think about it, you'll probably miss it. And I was like, daggone it. Yes. And John, it was an expensive week. I did not plan on any of that happening this week, but I did go ahead and use 1,300 VIP points and knocked off $100 off of the Bugle. So it made it a little less.
That's good.
Caustic to the wallet. But then they've announced all this other stuff that's coming out in August. Yeah. I need a second job.
You and I are going to be broke.
Yeah. I'm really thinking that I might need to start getting if it wasn't for the fact that there's a conflict of interest of being the Lego ambassador and working at the Lego store at the same time, which I don't think I can do, I really need to get a part-time job at the Lego store just to fund my Lego hobby.
Fund the hobby.
But with that, let's go ahead and go to this Old Gray Brick set of the week. All righty, here we go.
Week. Come on.
Old Gray Brick set of the week. Is 0030 Imperial Star Destroyer. This is the original UCS Star Destroyer. I felt it was appropriate since I had just finished the new one. Let's go ahead and talk about it.
I love Star Trek.
Yeah. Somebody mute him, hey? Theme Star Wars Ultimate Collector Series 2002. So this thing came out 19 years ago. It definitely qualifies as an Old Gray Brick set. 3,096 pieces, depending on where you look for the information, because it also comes out as 3,106 or 4, depending on where you look at it. I think that's also counting like the extra bits and pieces that come along the way. You got 0 minifigures back with this set in 2002. Retail price in 2002 was $270. Gosh, I wish this new one had only cost $270.
Right.
Used price today will run you anywhere from about a little over, just shy of 500 up to $1,000. Can go up on even a little higher or even a little lower depending on what condition it is. If you can get one new in box, which there are plenty out there available, they'll run you anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000, which I like to refer to as an old used car. Yeah, so it has definitely retained it is more than retained its value over the time. So why is it cool? I didn't realize this was the first Star Destroyer ever made by Lego. I had thought that maybe they had made a smaller one, but no. 2002, this was their first foray into the Star Destroyer set, and they did it with a bang with the UCS set. This was the largest Lego set from 2002 to 2004. Does anybody know what took over as the largest set in 2004?
Taj Mahal.
Taj Mahal came out in, I think, 2005 or 2006. The
Death Star?
Death Star 2. Jeff Van Windham coming in at the wire there, yes.
The no prize.
You win the no prize. 94 inches in length.
Get that guy
And
out.
that's all I'm going to say about that, and we're going to move right along. After that, magnets. I don't know if this is actually a reason for this set to be cool or not, because I think there are.
You call his name? I'm just saying.
Magnets.
There are magnets. I got it. Sorry.
There are 74 freaking magnets in this thing holding it together. It was very creative on Lego's part, and much to their chagrin, probably the worst idea they could have done for making that set and holding everything together with magnets. So, anyway, I'm going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about, that last one should have been changed. But anyway, comparisons of the 10030 in 2002 versus the 75-252 that came out in 2019. Pieces, you got a little over 3,000 for the first version, but a little under 5,000 for the new one. So definitely a large piece count difference between 2002 and 2019. Retail price was a big difference. So, 270 to 700. I'm thinking that the old version kind of won out on that price change. Wow. And the price per piece is definitely in favor of the old set. The old set came in at around 8 cents a part, while the new one is at 14 cents. Yeah, that's even steep by by Star Wars theme or licensed theme set. 14 cents a piece. Yeah. Wow, that's kind of hurts. I'm glad that I actually traded in my Empire State Building from Boone's Builds to knock about $120 off of the set, so it makes me feel a little better. Also, the size was a little bit different. So the old one was only 37 inches or 96 centimeters for you in the metric system, versus the 43-inch to 110 centimeters for the newer one. So the newer one is definitely bigger. So maybe that kind of justifies the piece count and the price. Both are fantastic sets, don't get me wrong. And the old set was in old gray and old dark gray. That is for sure, John. And of course, sad spoiler at the end there, 0 minifigures on the old version, but you got 2 minifigures on the new one. And I got to say, shout out to the new minifigures, because you got dual molded legs on the Imperial officer. So he looks like he's wearing black knee boots. Oh, cool. Love that part. Fantastic. So that again, this week's Old Gray Brick set of the week is 10030 Imperial Star Destroyer UCS 2002.
Do you want to hear something that'll make you cry?
You're going to tell me you got it at half price.
He's got like 7 of them or something.
Yeah. No. My wife bought me one of those for Christmas, and it sat around for about 5 years. She decided she was going to sell it unopened, and she got $1,000 for it.
I am not surprised. Not surprised. Hey, Mark,
big cry.
Do you guys ever get one of those in at ABC? Do they ever show up?
Yeah, we actually usually have at least the new one or the old one in stock at one time. I think right now we don't have any of those in stock right now. But yeah, the old ones tend to kind of sit for a while because not everyone is just excited about the old one now that the new one's around.
Right.
So, but that being said, we're out of both right now. So, yeah.
Do you guys have a Ghostbuster Firehouse right now?
No, we haven't seen that in about a year and a half. So I'm so sorry, Jeff.
That I do have
I'm
already
sorry,
been
Jeff.
thought
Yeah, it's crushed.
Now, if I recall, that Star Destroyer spanned the color change, so they are old gray ones and new gray ones. And if I recall, I remember stories of people who would get one and they were mixed colors. They were new and old in the Star Destroyer set because it was happening during the part change and stuff like that. So,
which is really interesting. I mean, as a reseller to try and do that, it's like if somebody came in with it mixed like that, you'd be like, is this an actual set? You know, and they're like, it's, you know, original owner, it's all been together, stickers are original, this and that. Which, by the way, the stickers, just the sticker, the plate, $100.
The big
wheels go anywhere from
$25
to $75 a piece.
I have some that have been rocket engines in some spaceships, and I could probably send Jake to a semester of college if I sold them. So.
Yep, easily.
But that came in the color change. The magnets were weird, but the thing I think one of the reasons that it was cheaper back in the day is there is a lot of part repeats in the original. All the greebles were the same little strip of 6 or 7 parts for the greeble, and I know in the new Star Destroyer it is not that way. They I was really impressed. I mean, the one thing I think I might have mentioned this, that the side greeble is the same on both sides, but one is flipped. So it makes it easy to build them at the same time, which is kind of cool. But after that, all the greeblings along the top, they are not consistent on both sides. So it's definitely an intricate build, and they go all out on the greeble on this one. So that piece count is really, I mean, the last 3 bags took the longest. I mean, you could build the rest of it in the same time as it took to build the last 3 bags because there's so much greebling going on. Yeah. Mr. Blue is here. Y'all say hello to Mr. Blue. Good to have you here. Always joins us.
I'm Mr. Blue.
So glad. All right. So we have some guests today, and let's see what's up in there. I mean, anything happening for you guys? Is there like anything special going on?
Like Lego or like everything? Because there's a lot happening.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Lego. Is there any Lego thing going on for you guys?
Well, actually, Steven, you're building stuff to show alongside the show, so that's what's keeping you busy. I'm going to start doing a series of mini builds that are not exact copies.
Inspired by.
Yeah, they're inspired by. So they'll kind of have like inside jokes around, or characters I never got to build, like on on episode 1 and stuff like that.
Wait, you were on a show or something?
Sorry?
Y'all were on a show or something?
Never heard of it. It's
yeah.
It's this little thing.
Little
program on Fox or something. Yeah. Hulu.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm planning on those. Oh yeah, that was a good one. But yeah, I'm going to be uploading a build for every episode that we're in. So keep an eye out for those. They're coming up. Probably tomorrow I'll upload the first one.
Cool. All right, good deal.
You got photos of it. I got pictures, yeah. Well, I am working on another thing as well. This is actually, we are planning on going to 2 conventions this year. It's going to be Brick Rodeo and Brick Fair, Virginia. So we're really looking forward to those, seeing our friends again after a long break of no conventions for everyone. But I am working on a scene, and I'm not going to say what, but you should be able to figure out. This is half of it. Yeah, it's blue. And this is just the first layer. We're going to build up from there. And it's going to probably be nautical and probably have something kind of maybe red reaching out of it. So, it's a big project, but we'll just say that. I've ordered probably $300 worth of trans dark blue pieces. To hopefully the water will really light up and really kind of set the whole tone for the build. So trying to use a lot of lighting, trying to use some mist and like kind of like not smoke because it's just water, but mist effects and really kind of push the envelope as far as special effects go for mocks, because we've done a lot of big landscapes and small detailed builds where this would be kind of a little bit new. We've done lighting before, but this is like all about that kind of stuff. So yeah. Oh, also one other thing, I am planning on starting a YouTube channel sometime soon. I've already started making creations for that specifically. I don't know when, probably, next month or so. But keep an eye out for that. I've got a name and stuff. So yeah, that's in the works too.
Nice.
Mhm.
That's awesome. All right. So just give us an idea. How weird was Tuesday night for you guys, seeing yourself on Brickmasters 2? How weird was it? Just go ahead and throw it out there.
Yeah, so it was pretty, in the words of Tyler Kleitz, it was surreal, right? So so it was very weird and unusual to see yourself on screen. We were with a big group of my coworkers and our friends, all people who are really into Lego.
Atlanta Brick Co. people.
Yeah, we had basically the whole crew and some of their families with us. So it was pretty awesome, and it was weird, but at the same time, it's kind of like I was so paying attention to what they included and what they didn't include that it took away a little bit of that freak outness that you could probably experience from it. But, what about you, Steve? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'll echo that. It was definitely surreal. I was kind of freaking out because it looked a little weird on the camera, in my opinion. I don't know what it was. I'm like, yeah, the dark circles. Yeah, I don't know if it was the hair. First of all, you have stage makeup on your face. There's a big difference between standard normal makeup and stage makeup, apparently. So we were wearing that every day, very heavy duty stuff. So it didn't feel very natural. We also had our hair like moved like crazy and stuff like that. So if your hair starts to come undone, you're kind of on your own. So you have to kind of be careful a little bit. So movements don't feel as normal. You're extra careful and you're focusing on what you're building. So the whole thing is crazy.
So you're saying your pores didn't breathe for 12 hours straight?
Apparently, this stuff is like engineered so that your face can breathe. I don't know how that works, but yeah, it's weird how this stuff works. But to watch yourself on screen I wasn't as freaked out as I thought I was going to be. It was just so nice to see all the contestants again. You got to see all those faces that you haven't seen in so long, and it was really exciting to see all that they brought in there.
Sweet. So we'll go around there. We've lost a couple of our folks. So if someone has the invite, you can come on in. But so you let me do something. I'm gonna move you all to the middle here, so your face is not hidden by the old gray brick there. That's cool. So you mentioned what they cut and what they did it. Was there things that you're like, that didn't happen that way, or whatever? Or can you talk? I don't want to, obviously don't talk about what you can't talk about, but was there any moment you're like, wait, that didn't happen like that? Or a moment you're like, that should have been on there and they didn't do it?
Yeah, so I would say they actually did a terrific job of getting the highlights out of so much time and so many teams that were happening. So you have 12 teams. It's 2 more than last time, and there was a lot to cover. So there's like, I think if you do the math, it's like 168 hours of building time that from all the different teams that they had to condense into 40 minutes and still make sense and still have a little taste of everything. So it's like everybody got like a minute or two. It's like nobody got a ton of time, and for that reason, it felt like fast, and it felt like, oh, they didn't cover that, and like Zach and Wayne, I would have loved to have seen a little bit more behind the scenes. Jamie and Amy had great advice for everybody, multiple times, right? So it's like you were lucky if the team got a shot with Jamie or Amy at all, right?
Have you guys watched Lego Masters Australia?
What was that?
Have you guys watched Lego Masters Australia?
I've seen some of them, and they are so much longer, so much more.
I was gonna say the episodes are so much longer, and it's fun.
Yeah, there's definitely a part of me that wishes that that was possible for our season, but at the same time, Fox is appealing to a mass audience, and they have to really keep it short and concise for kids and short attention spans. So it's
something like that.
Yeah. But
so what you're saying is the American public couldn't handle a 2-hour Lego Masters.
Dana, do you think that they could?
No, I agree. Heck, I'm actually surprised that our viewers who watch this show can handle us for 2 hours.
I know, right?
They don't. They tune out. I looked at the analytics. Anyway,
we've talked about this, but anyway, back to Lego Masters.
Well, yeah, I will say it would be awesome if they produced. I mean, I'm not the TV guy, but it would be awesome if they produced a web show with some more footage or some. I've always wanted them to do some clips and focus on the builds in little segments online with some building tips and stuff like that. That would be amazing. And they don't. I mean, that's a whole production thing, and it's money. I mean, but that's the one thing I would love to see how you guys built the Serpent you built and the mechanics in there, which we were like, I mean, there was a moment where y'all were having to get some clearance or something moving. I'm like, what was it? Oh, and they cut.
We spent an hour working on that one part, and they just had like clip of it.
That's second. Oh man, that was interesting.
I was thinking that if you go to Brick Rodeo or Brick Fair, Virginia, like I am, I'll get to ask them, and they'll all get to see it potentially.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I gotta ask this question. I gotta ask this question because I know that Chris and I, you know, when we were thinking we were auditioning, and one of the things that we were thinking about is that we needed to brush up on boost and the function stuff. And definitely your first challenge was right out of the gate, motion and stuff like that, which doesn't surprise me at the same time though. So how much had you guys worked on the boost type products before that challenge, or was this your first foray?
There was none. We had no experience with boost leading up to this. I have like 3 power function motors and a battery, and like that's it. I made a train once, which was pretty fun. It was all like with the power functions, but a few little movement bits here and there. But Mark, I don't think you've ever had movement in.
I did a power drawbridge one time.
Yeah, that's it. That's like the once. So yeah.
So how was that? I mean, I'm assuming automatically that's a, oh my God, what are we doing kind of thing. But how did you get from no experience to 3 things moving on your set in different ways? I mean, that's an amazing learning curve that you guys had to go through.
Mm-hmm. So, and you guys had a lot more motion than some. So
yeah,
sure, this is true. That being said, what we did, Amy and Jamie, they kind of pointed it out as very complicated. You had 3 movements, but this guy here was in charge of the movements, and it was just a crankshaft for all the mechanisms. We just adjusted it. That's it.
A different angle each time.
The crankshaft. Oh, tell them about the boat. How the boat works.
Okay, so I'm not super technical or technic based, so
it's not our thing.
There was a bit of learning and quickly adapting to the situation. Basically, it's just you have a gear spinning, and you have something attached to the outer edge of a gear or a wheel, and that creates a pushing motion with a rod or something. And then so you have the section of the body is moving back and forth with that. You have the mouth opening up and down was actually it was a string that was flexible that provided that little up and down motion. So everything was just something going up and down.
A large tooth gear.
And then for the boat, we actually, they didn't really show it on the show, but it had a little extra lift arm in there. So it would go slowly up, but then as soon as it would slam down, like a boat hitting the rough wave. So it was really good timing on that. But so it's just the same concept applied 3 different ways and 3 different angles, and it looks different each time. But it's pretty simple stuff.
Once you found a formula, you're like, bingo, we're using this throughout the whole thing.
Yeah,
because
it was kind of doing a keeping it simple, stupid kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, go with what works and just repeat. So no, that's awesome. Because I mean, I was sitting there, I'm like, that is fantastic. I'm like, I don't know if I could sit down and do that in that amount of time, having not worked with it, and I didn't know how much you guys experienced with it. So that's just fantastic that you guys rocked that out so quickly. So props to you guys on that one.
I had that moment of, oh man, I couldn't do that. We tried out for the show, and I'm sitting there. I kind of know what we would have tried to done, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I could have done that.
I mean, not to deviate away from this, but Chris, it's funny because I watched Julian's show afterwards, like the next day, because I didn't have time to join with you guys. And when Julian asked you, what would you and Dana have done? You nailed it exactly what we would have done.
Yeah, I know. But Dana would have had to do that. I would have
had to figure out all the mechanics on it, but it was definitely that scenario. So I love that you guys did the whole, and I got to ask about this. I kind of felt like Amy and Jamie kind of bashed on you with the whole Viking heritage thing. And as a fellow Viking heritage guy, I was like, I mean, I know they had to pick on you for something. They had to give you a negative critique for something, but that just seemed like it was harsh. years.
Yeah, I think that we actually got some people were messaging me later and says, "I guess you had the wrong cultural heritage." I'm like, "Well, no."
I mean, I guess those Danish are a little harsh on the Norwegians. I mean,
the dragons that Zach and Wayne made both represented them, like really in their character. So we made one world serpent that's cool. We made a couple Vikings on the boat. So it isn't necessarily about us. It's representing something that is like our heritage.
That's what I thought.
Like personal.
You guys, when I first met you, you guys were like the castle fantasy builders, and when you built that, I'm like, they're going to the roots. So that's just so you to me.
That's also
and you should have said. But I can't realize.
But they didn't highlight that in the show. Like, you know, they only highlighted the fact that it was your Viking heritage. Had they said, "Oh, this this is what you were building with as a kid," I think that would have brought a little bit more of a storyline to it.
Yeah,
maybe.
We actually brought up the fact that we were we were raised in Florida. We grew up by the sea, really like the ocean. That's why the whole thing was built out of the ocean. So it's like, so there were just, I guess the story elements didn't make as much sense or weren't as translating to them as clearly. But that being said, when we actually came up with the idea, Steven was one of his first ideas is, we got to build a dragon, do something castle-y. And I'm like, it's like, dude, everyone's gonna build a dragon. You got to do something different. We're gonna do like a sea serpent or something. We can even do like Norse mythology and tie into us a little bit. So,
okay, that sounds like fun. And I built the serpent. I'm the one who built the water. Yeah,
and we're really glad we did, because Zach and Wayne's dragons were fantastic. If we were gonna lose to any mock with our something we really liked, we're like, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. If you guys liked, I'm sorry, I don't want to go too long, but if you guys liked our motion, Zach and Wayne's, it was one motor and one switch, and it never broke. It never broke down, never jammed up. It was flawless the whole way through. And I want to stress it again real quick, just for viewers' sake. Why didn't ours get picked above Zach and Wayne's? And the reason is, you could immediately know with Zach and Wayne's build, you have a big red dragon and a big blue dragon. There's a big red guy with a red sweater, and there's another guy with a blue sweater. You can instantly identify that. And they had a very personal touch. We had a personal touch too, but it wasn't quite as visualized. That was the reason. And we did bring up a bunch of other stuff aside from the Viking heritage. And frankly, Zach and Wayne had a bunch of other really cool stuff too that they talked about that I'm sure had something to do with the judges. I mean, they had such a cool spiel about the fact that they're sideways. That was really cool, because he talked about in Chinese culture, if the dragon's coming towards you in your tapestry or your painting, you must not value your life very much. That was like, well, you're going to commit suicide? You got a dragon coming right for you. They highlighted that when Jamie said, why are they kind of looking at us? They're like, yeah, don't do that. So really good, like, everything about his build was like really well orchestrated.
They actually didn't cover the main challenge was motion, right?
Yes.
Right. So it's like, this should be motion. And obviously we had a lot more motion than most of the other contestants. I think that's why we got second.
I think so too.
But Zach and Wayne's, their entire thing moved. Okay. So it's like,
it was hands down. I mean, I was commenting about how I just felt like it was harsh. Like the one thing they were saying was, it really wasn't enough about you guys. It was like, just kind of like, ouch, that kind of hurt. I mean, I felt for you guys at that point. But that all being said, yes, those dragons, for those guys, hands down, no offense. Yeah, they were the top build in that challenge.
All the advertising going up to it is almost like those two dragons showed up in every. I mean, you're like attaching them. So I'm like, whoever built that is going to win. But I mean, that's just in my head.
Yeah.
And so when I see what y'all are dragging, I'm like, oh, they got a red. But that's. And then I see those guys, and I see them starting to. I'm like, yep, they got it. They're gonna, who's coming up second, kind of on that. But it is great, fantastic build that you guys did. Fantastic build that they did. So let's go around.
So, of course, I got to ask. It's kind of a follow-up question. So, I asked how you guys were doing as far as your boost or motion experience. What was the feel for the rest of the field? I mean, everybody else, were other people comfortable with it, or were they in the same boat you were?
It's hard to say. I would say most of them were pretty uncomfortable with it, though. The winners, obviously, Zach is a very experienced, like, engineering sort of builder.
That's his favorite thing to do.
His favorite thing is with working with power functions. So he was in his element big time. Who else? Dave was doing pretty good. Dave and Richard, they seemed to be handling it all right. A couple other people were struggling though. I could tell.
Well, I think we all could tell that there was some struggling.
Yeah, with the motors. The builds themselves, in my opinion, you had the better ones, and then you had the ones that at the bottom too.
Well, but as you said, the challenge was motion, and that became the crux of the whole thing.
Sounds like they could have used a GBC workshop.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if those guys who made the dragons have built a GBC before. I wonder if they
could do it.
Yeah, I mean, because when I saw that, I'm like, gosh, have they done GBC? Because I've seen that as a undulating kind of motor moving.
That kind of cam before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So that pretty.
So another thought that I had at the end of the show, when they call out the two bottom builds, and I don't know if you watch season 1, nobody went home the first episode. Did people think that someone was going home the first episode, or was it kind of like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge? We know nobody's going home kind of thing.
They didn't tell us.
Okay, so they didn't tell you.
They're basically saying it was an elimination type thing. So it's like be prepared for the bottom 2, top 2. I think they actually just said someone's going home today. So we're just
so they did lead you down the primrose path.
They didn't tell us. They never really gave us the full story of what was going on ever. So it's like at this point, everybody thought that somebody was probably going home today. Even
considering we had more teams, so we're kind of trying to guess this.
Mathematically, it's like somebody pretty much needs to be eliminated every episode, pretty much. So it's like there could be little gaps or
spoilers or anything.
Right.
Yeah, So everyone was absolutely terrified, and Maria and Philip and Jen and Susan were like
petrified for things.
They were not having a great day.
Sorry for them. Oh
Yeah.
man, that was hard.
I mean, because it
Is that your mom? Wait, time out. Is that your mom?
Mom.
That's awesome. Welcome, Mom. Like and subscribe. Thank you very much.
Nicely done, Chris. Nicely done. Because it looked like both those teams on the bottom bracket were. I mean, that they were literally sweating bullets, and I was like, but wait a minute. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, season 1, episode 1, they didn't send anybody home, so they're not going to send anybody home here. I knew it was coming. I knew what Will Arnett was going to do. The whole. It was just like it felt like a repeat performance. And so I was curious to see, how much of that was going on for you guys. And so, you've laid it out that no, you guys had no clue that nobody was going home.
Terrified, yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't even know the Golden Brick was going to show up that episode.
They announced it kind of midway.
That is exactly what they did for season
1. Yeah, well, they just didn't tell us, and we weren't really sure what to expect because it's very similar to the first season. The set's the same, the concepts are the same, but there's 2 new teams, and it's a little bit more going on. So. There's always that unknown element, and everyone was not wanting to get sent home first.
And I got to imagine that because we are definitely armchair quarterbacking or armchair building.
Oh yeah,
to begin with. I mean, we're sitting here. I'm calm. I'm cool. I'm having a drink while I'm watching the show. Everything's cool. I'm not sitting there having built for 14 hours and I'm losing my mind and I think I'm going home. So I'd imagine that it's got to be very stressful, very intense to the whole thing.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you a question. This isn't serious. This is my main observation of the show. Is this true?
Yes, that is so true. 100. Moto ran like Forrest Gump. He could run like no tomorrow.
And he actually even had that really forward stance.
He never tired. It's crazy.
Well, he was tired afterwards.
Later. But during the show.
I've seen him running in the background. Yeah, there's a couple shots where he's like, whoosh.
Yeah, he's all. Did he ever run fast enough that the ponytail was full extended?
Close.
He was like in a pretty high angle.
Yeah, I mean, man, that guy can run.
So he told us later that he's actually known as he's done he was like a camp counselor and stuff like that, and he was known as Power Toes.
Yep,
that's his nickname. So
he told me this story. I'm gonna butcher this story so bad, but when the kids would come up in a bus, it was I don't know what, 25 minutes from the road to the camp worth of driving, and he said, I gotta impress these kids. So he would start at the road and run with the bus all the way for a 25-minute ride, but they were going 15, 16 miles an hour, something the whole way or something like that. and he could keep up the entire time. They're like, he's still going. So yeah,
You had a
really
missed opportunity
cross country.
in
So
track.
it's very entertaining to watch.
So run, Moto, run!
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
great.
and no, it's so fun to find out that knowing you guys and knowing Moto, we've got to know Moto through the shows, that it was you guys kind of hanging out a little bit. And he was telling us that and everything. And I'm like, my friends know my friends. I'm excited about it. So
Big family.
that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Hey, let's go around the room. We'll talk a little bit more with these guys. I don't know how long y'all can hang, but I mean, you're welcome to stay the whole time because we prattle on. But anyway,
we have diarrhea of the mouth from time to time.
That's correct.
I love that.
That's correct. So any of you guys got a question, something you want to ask about these guys, about the show, go right. We'll open that up. Anybody?
John looks like he's got a question.
John is chomping at the bit.
How are those 14 hours of building split? Is that one day? Is that 2 days? What is that?
Yeah. So I think the first day it was, and it's filmed over a couple days usually, and so it's broken up into like 4 or 5 hour chunks, and there's usually like a 20-minute lunch break in between. Then you get back into it. There aren't necessarily any breaks in between, but you can take a bathroom break or go get a little sip of water.
That's on your time, by the way.
That's on your building time. So people were very careful and strategic about that.
Careful.
So it's not like you're building for 14 hours straight, but it's definitely like a full day's building. You're doing at least 10 hours of building a day, you know? So, and then there's some time for filming stuff, like standing there, hearing the challenges, judging.
Yeah, reading the rules. That was right before the challenge every time. And then, like when the judging could take almost the whole day, depending on how it works.
Yeah, just because there's a lot of teams.
Everyone would come forward, do their presentation, and then come back, and then okay, next one. Then you go again, and then you take your rising positions, do it again. And there's like a lot of takes when we're doing the judging. It's not staged, but they have to organize it. So yeah, and not a lot of it is staged. Yeah, but yeah, that's how mostly it worked.
So when the judging was going on, you guys were all just standing there watching the judging happen, or were you? Wow, that's just a lot of standing around.
A lot,
yeah.
It's over there.
It was.
Give these guys a chair. I mean,
my poor knees.
Yes, I'm used to it.
So then,
I would need a chair.
Will we see you in the same clothes in the testimonials every week?
So
I know that some shows do that. You have a testimonial outfit.
Yeah, I think they're planning the interviews. I think they're planning to have the outfits for the interviews match the outfits you're seeing on the current episode.
Pretty much,
as far as I know.
So you're saying bladder control is a positive. Then I'm out. I'm too old.
Chris, I
got to go to the bathroom, man. I'll be in the middle of judging. I'll be like, hey, I got to go, or you're going to have a mess to clean up. Yeah, so I'm out.
It was a lot easier after the clock stopped or started. Like after that, it's like, okay, if anybody needs a restroom, just say it. We will stop the cameras.
All right.
We'll go to the bathroom. So after that,
and say, Tyler's wife, Amy, I have so much more. She did that pregnant. I was barfing when I was pregnant, early in my pregnancy. I had to pee all the time. How did she do that?
I was thinking if Chris and I made it, I'd just buy stock in Depends, and we'd be good to go.
Myself.
Yeah. If you got to go, just go.
Go bad.
That would be like a handicap team where like each of you got 7 hours building, and the other 7 is like in the loo.
I think Tyler told. I don't know if he told a story about when the one build they did, which was the building, and then they got the building done, and they made that twisty building, red, white, and blue kind of thing, and she was very sick. I don't know if it's before they had an announcement or what. She was not feeling well, and she was not in a good mood and not happy, kind of thing. And then they came in and said they had 4 more hours to build the monsters and stuff. He said that was a tough day for her, and they pulled that off. But
tough day for her, tough day for Tyler. I mean, as a married man of 25 years, your first and foremost priority is to keep her happy, and trying to do work at the same time.
Oh no, that would be wow. I mean, and as a married couple.
Yeah.
Not all of a sudden just popping the claws and chewing into each other when you get.
Oh yeah, I mean, divorces have happened for less than that.
All right. Yeah, I probably would have gotten sick if I was at her stage of pregnancy on TV like that, doing hours and hours, I probably would have gotten sick all over the model.
Oh yeah.
It makes me wonder if she had actually become gastronomically upset and it went all over the mock, what they would have done.
Clean up.
That would have definitely been on the show. That would have definitely been on the show.
I have no idea what they would have done. Knowing our producers now, I don't know what they would. They would have like looked
Because
at each
there's no
other.
real
like,
way
"What are
to
we
clean it
doing?"
off without destroying the mock.
Well,
I'm pretty sure that
well,
Amy. I'm pretty sure she would have.
I have even
I
more
know.
respect
Go
for
ahead,
Amy
John.
Yeah,
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Great.
Watching after interviews of the original cast and everything, I've heard a lot of them talk about, some people were kind of trying to throw some shade that, Tyler's a builder and she wasn't. And all of them goes, number one, she built a lot. And number two, she did it pregnant. So just lay off, that kind of stuff. So
Absolutely.
Ours
Anyway.
up to bat for them. They're amazing.
yeah. Anybody on the show,
If you're not a builder going in, you are by the time you're leaving. That's a for certain.
Yeah. All right.
So-
Anybody else? Questions for these guys? Anything you want to know?
How was the bubble? Were you? I'm assuming you guys were in a COVID bubble
Oh yeah.
while filming.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, we were in our own zone. The cast was in their own zone. We
The
were
red
only
zone.
allowed to interact with about 3 or 4 other people, and out of hundreds of crewmen.
Yeah,
and
there's probably
women.
200
So,
people there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was hundreds and hundreds of crew people there, and so we were really isolated in our own little warehouse area building, and so we could only socialize with each other, and so we really became close friends, like family-like relationships, really fast because we were all that we hung out with for days and days and days. So it was awesome in that way, but it's also kind of like, wow. We're like so isolated. We would just be able to stand on the outside of the building and just kind of look off into the distance and be like, wow, the rest of the world is just moving by.
It was so, you felt like you were like what? Like witness protection or something.
Yeah.
High profile jury.
So you didn't really get to interact with the other contestants as much?
No, yeah.
Oh no, we did.
More
Okay.
so,
Yeah,
because
way
we were
more.
all in the same zone, and we were wearing masks and face shields when we were going back and forth. But and so we only took off our masks when we were either eating or drinking or on set. As soon as we got on set, everyone would line up at their table and they say, "Okay,
Mask off."
PPE off," which is personal protection. And so they would just everyone take their stuff off, puts it in a bag.
And the cameras start rolling, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm piecing something together here that's kind of falling into a question. So did you build on set or did you build somewhere else and then on set, or how'd that work?
100% on set.
100% in that cool studio
Okay.
at all times.
Okay.
The brick pit, that was our supply. There were some times where we would build and the cameras were not rolling, but that was not very often.
Okay.
In case they were running short on time.
Maybe a quarter of the time
Yeah.
for the first episode, and about not
That's
even.
about it.
I don't think they even had any off-camera build time for the second episode because we make it to that one too. So.
Yeah, everyone does.
You had your staff that you were working with. Were you able to go to the brick room, or did you have to request bricks?
You can request. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh wait, the brick room specifically.
So
or-
they store about half of the pieces that they have on hand in the brick pit. So in theory, you should be able to have it unless this all runs out of a specific item, and in which case you let them know, and they promptly were able to fill it out. So
What you never saw was that there were teams of people going to and from the brick pit a lot, restocking. Like they were always restocking, and you could just say, "Hey, can I get some gray jumper plates or something?" Like you could or light lay jumper plates, and they would run and grab some. But that would take like 10, 15 minutes or something like that. So make sure you get your order in ahead of time if you needed extra parts that weren't there, or tell them like, "We're going to use a ton of brown or a ton of green." Or
they
a
would
ton of
actually.
blue,
So you have these little square containers, and they could actually like make it a double size. And
Yeah,
then
they could do a double stack.
So you could tell them like, "Hey, we're planning on using a ton of 1x2 and whatever color,"
Yeah.
and then they could just
They could plan ahead if they had to. So that was really cool.
Interesting. Yeah.
Did you run into a lot of collisions with parts?
So there was obviously you have actually a limited amount of parts, despite there being 5 million pieces. Most of them were basic bricks, and then some of the more specialized stuff like tiles or slopes, especially a few things like that. There wasn't a ton of. So
Yeah.
whenever we were like, especially episode 1, we were building. We're like, okay, they're doing this color, they're doing this color. Let's try and use pieces that are not going to necessarily clash with the other teams. And so
you want to stand out anyway.
So Zach and Wayne, they had a red dragon. We're like, okay, they have red dragon. It's like, let's do orange with our dragon. And then we see them using orange. We're like, okay,
using orange.
Let's shift. Let's put purple on there instead. So we switched to purple on his back instead of orange because we didn't want to clash with a color that was a little bit limited in the parts department and just appearance's sake as well.
Yeah, there was almost an unwritten understanding with the builders too. We tried not to copy each other's colors as best as we could.
Try not to use the same color.
Yeah,
pieces.
but like basics like green for grass and stuff, obviously you're gonna grab them up.
Or even
quickly.
grays.
That happened a little bit. Like, oh, grab this color, quick, and they take off before the other teams got there or something. That did happen.
A tiny bit.
For episode 1.
Overall, very good.
But yeah, generally we all had a little bit of an understanding. We don't want to look like we're copying each other. We really don't. And because that happened in season 1 a little bit, so we're like, oh, maybe
that was in our mind.
That was heavy on our heads. So we're all like, no copying. So that was there.
So I've heard stories of the Legoland builder's palette being insane and having out of production or non-production parts. Was everything production parts, or did you guys run across stuff that you're like, that doesn't actually exist in a set? Or
they had really long flex tubes. They were like that long.
So that's cool.
Yeah,
that was really probably the only thing that you wouldn't be able to necessarily buy. However, I will say they had larger quantities than you ever realistically see in one place at one time. So like 2x4s, for example, they had pretty much every color, and they had pretty much endless amounts of those. And then the quarter tiles, little 1x1 with a curved corner, they had like pretty much every color of those, and a whole bin of them. So
round plates.
Yeah. So really good amount of numbers, even if it wasn't a terrific selection of items, because there's hundreds of thousands of different types of Lego pieces. They can't have 5,000 of every single one. So yeah,
I think you could complain you could nitpick about the selection a bit, but generally I think it was fine. Yeah.
Did you ever run into a point in time where you're like, I wish they had this piece and they don't?
They didn't have 1x1 round trans clear plates, but they didn't have those. And I'm like, these are essential for water. They had blue, but they didn't have white, or trans clear, I should say. They had normal white. No blue. Like, okay, we'll have to get some 1x2
part. I need
it. They had 1x2 plates, I think, in trans clear, but like that was good. So I was like, okay, missed that one.
Yeah. Your mom has a question.
Hey, wait. Yeah, I was about to say, but I'll say Pink Wheel's got a slide, so have a good night.
You, brothers Erickson. We'll be rooting for you.
Hopefully we'll see you on the 26th. That's right. All right. I was going to say, your mom has a question for you.
That's a leading question, but
a little bit.
So most of the teams were pretty prompt about their planning. Us being some of the promptest, we actually, while they were announcing,
they're telling us the rules.
First of all, the theme and the rules. Steve and I
Y'all
are
sleeping on the pad
about what we're going to build. Steven's like, we got to build a dragon.
Get your Viking boat. That was the first thing, Viking boat.
And so we were talking. So we were pretty much decided what we were going to build by the time we were walking over to film the planning sequence.
Yeah.
So when we're just like, okay, we're going to do this, good. So we just run to the bit as soon as possible. So it was over in like 2 minutes for us.
Yeah, we were done in at least no more than 5 minutes.
And
like, that was it.
And so most of the other teams were done within the first 15 minutes.
The majority. We won't say.
There was one team. I'm not going to say who it was, just for whatever
got tripped
reason.
up a little bit.
But they were planning for about an hour, and they didn't actually show that on the final cut of the episode. But they were like planning for an hour, and everyone else is kind of like, "Are they going to be okay?"
They were. They had a really nice build, by the way. It was really good. We won't
So maybe the planning was better for them because it gave them more time. Maybe
I think it somehow helped them a lot more, just taking a lot of time to plan. So, yeah.
All right, so here that begs the question. I know Lego Masters try to have a story and a pair and a partnership build. When we interviewed, we were talking about that and all that kind of stuff. You guys have lived together for 25 years, right? And you speak a Lego language together. Then you've got some teams that seem to be friends or new friends and stuff like that. That seems to be a distinct advantage to you guys. I mean, I'm not going to say, I don't want you to talk about the future episodes and everything, but yeah, in 2 minutes, y'all have your plan where the others are struggling. So it definitely seems to be an advantage. Did you see some teams in their styles struggle a little bit? I mean, I do want to see y'all argue and throw down and go, "You're an idiot" on this thing. I mean, I really would do it. It's what I would do in my brother. But yeah, y'all have that advantage. Did other teams struggle with that?
Well, it would have been an advantage if there weren't so many sibling teams. Like
That's
there
true.
were like at least half a dozen of them.
Yeah, there was a lot of family groups going on. In fact, I would say there's more teams were related than not, and it like hadn't built together before.
5 including us. 5 including us were siblings, I think.
So that's half the cast right there.
Yeah. And Philip and Maria were married, so they're family. So it would have been a nice advantage if not most of the cast were that. Zach and Wayne, father and son. So many of them were related.
Tim and Zach.
Oh,
Zach
I'm
and
sorry,
brother.
I'm sorry. How could I do that? I'm sorry. Tim and Zach were father and son. Zach and Wayne were brothers. And then we had twins and stuff like that. So
Jack and Don were siblings.
Yeah, they were siblings as well. So I think that actually let's compare it to season 1. There were less siblings and married couples. A lot of them were friends or acquaintances or what have you. But in this season, there was a lot of like really good teamwork, even with people who weren't related or were friends. But there was a lot of really quick thinking teamwork on a lot of the sibling teams. I recognize.
There was the advantage is definitely there, but it wasn't quite as apparent as season 1, I think.
Yeah.
I got it. So the little surface pad things, do y'all actually the little? I mean, I know they're advertising the surface pads. I mean, that was last year as well. Did y'all use that a lot, or was it just like, yeah, that's there?
Well, we
didn't as much.
We used it because it was required, but we would normally just use a sheet of paper because it's actually quicker. But
some teams used it a lot, though.
Some teams use it a lot.
This is the sponsor. Use it.
So we were it's like do it on the surface pad first, and then you can use a piece of paper if you want to. And so we just did it on the pad and then just got building right away because we would usually just audibly or like sort of like point out what we're trying to
use your hands to show you what it looks like.
So once we got the initial sketch done, we would just move on to building because we were in such a rush. But normally in our actual at home building stuff, we would just draw on paper.
I have a question down here.
Matthew.
Yeah. So I guess you said it was a requirement for the surface pad thing. So my brother and I had a discussion about this after watching season 1 and also the first episode of season 2. Like they make you use them. Like you have to plan something out.
They're sort of like, here you go.
It's like, here's your tablet to use for the planning part.
Wink, wink,
wink. Nudge, nudge.
They were actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
They were like definitely useful. I mean, it like seemed like we could have utilized it a little bit more.
Yeah, but we kind of felt like that would be a waste of time, even though it's like that sounds like, well, you're not planning enough. Well, the way we operate, we just didn't need it as much for that.
Were they networked? Like, one of the ways I build is I look at what other people are creating and like looking for inspiration, looking for how people are doing stuff. Like, were you guys able to look up gear ratios, able to look up that kind of like reference ROM sphere, that kind of thing?
So actually, interestingly, there was a very strict rule about no outside material on set. However, they said once you're at home at the hotel, you can do whatever you want to do, research whatever you want to research and look up. So sometimes you had the opportunity either in the middle of a challenge or at the beginning of a challenge. If they would let you know what the challenge was, then they'd send you home for the night. You could research it, but sometimes they were just like, here's the challenge. You're going to build for 4 hours right after. And so it's like you did not have the opportunity to study anything before going into it. So.
Oh, jeez.
By the way, while we were filming and during like lunch break or whatever, we didn't have access to our phones.
Yeah.
They were placed in a safe with our wallets and keys and other knickknacks and whatever. Also, you don't want them pockets, bunch of stuff bulging out of your pockets while you're doing that. And most of the girls had dresses anyway with no pockets, so for crying out loud, give them your phone. But we couldn't like research something over lunch. We just had to talk about it. So yeah, that was very interesting too. Mm-hmm. Now, if the contest went for a few days, you get your phone back, you get to go home, then there's nothing they're going to do about it. You could look something up, like a technique, like a really important gear, something or other, sure, but not during lunch. Is interesting.
That's cool.
Since you were from Atlanta, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did they let you actually go home?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
weren't even the only thing we could do was receive something like a delivery of food or something else at the door. We weren't even allowed to have outside guests in the hotel room.
We didn't leave the hotel properly.
We weren't allowed to hang out in the same room with anyone but the cast and a select few producers. So.
Huh.
Wow. So, and that's tons different than the first season, because they could go to the Lego store, they could go hang out, they could even have families, so all that kind of stuff. I understand. So
hello,
we wanted to bring the whole cast to Atlanta Brick Co. so bad, but we couldn't pull it off.
That would have been epic. That would have been
amazing. But no.
Yeah, you should plan a reunion and everybody come down to Atlanta Brick Co.
2022. That's
right.
Be there. So be there.
That's cool. All right. Any other questions you guys have are in the chat here. You got care packages from home. Well, okay. What did Mom say? We need to know.
Real quick. Sorry, real funny story, real quick. Mom's a genius. She over prepares, but that's not even the right word, because here's the thing. The food at Lego Masters was questionable. So what my mom did, she brought up so the hotel's got a microwave. No, it's fine. You can't do everything with it though. She brought up a toaster oven, like a compact one. And I stuck it in my hotel room, plugged it in. We're great. Threw pizzas in there, threw like toast and waffles and like anything. Just like it was perfect. That's like one of the things that kept me alive, bro. Like,
you got away with that? Because some hotels in the contract that you signed says you can't bring that kind of stuff in.
Well, it's a little under the red. Yeah. So thank you, Mom.
That's awesome. Let's see. We got actually a couple questions to see. That leads a question. When it came to piece selection or building specific parts of the build, was there much discussion needed there, or was it mostly just basic bricks because of the scale? So the parts, and then we talked about a little bit the part selection there. So you want to talk about that second?
We'll cover more about like when building specific parts of the build, because we've already talked a little bit about the piece selection. But basically, if we were going into episode, in this case, the first one, we're thinking, how do we physically, what are some of the main techniques we're going to use? In this case, we're like, well, the water is just like lots of sculpting.
Landscape, essentially.
The serpent was all basic bricks. The only complex stuff you have is a little bit of the head and maybe the boat and a few other things. So we planned out our build that is doable with a variety of techniques, most of them very simple, even if it's at a very large scale. So it's basically what he's saying in there is like, just keep it simple enough that you can do it a few ways. If you're relying on a part, that's a dangerous game to play, because first of all, you might not be able to find it. Second of all, they might not even have it, or enough of them, or it might have run out. That happened every now and then too.
Or someone else is using it.
Or someone else is using it, and you'll both not have enough.
So you want to keep yourself loose. You want to keep yourself loose, and so you can think on your feet at any time. So a lot of the techniques were, like Mark said, really simple, with really simple materials in some ways. But yeah, especially the head. The head got really complicated. I really like that part. Stop the TV and zoom in. Just check it out.
So kind of a follow-on question with that, because I know Mark, working at Atlanta Brick Company, you do a lot of corporate builds for things. I know for one, the big red blood cell scenario thing that you guys had to do, which was all basic brick, if I'm not mistaken, when you guys did it. Do you feel like that your experiences of working with basic brick was an advantage? Or, I mean, I'm sure it helped. I mean, because I personally, I don't work with 2x4s very often, or 2x2s, because I'm usually building smaller detailed things versus something large that you're going to use 2x4s. Was that an advantage for you guys when you were looking at the other contestants? How'd that work out?
Yeah, so I would say definitely, because working for, first of all, not everyone can say that they've made a 5 or 6 foot tall build before. And then it's not everyone that has to work with a limited amount of pieces to build something really big. So it's like we have a lot of pieces at the Atlanta Brick Co., but sometimes we just don't have everything, or we have to order them. So we're trying to use what we have on hand. So you'll find that you have to use what pieces you have in order to complete the project that you need to do. So I think that doing that every day for, I think it's now 5 years, 8 hours a day, that's like the most intense practice / training you could have for this type of situation.
Mostly this guy.
So in theory, like just discussing what the daily life everyone else is on the shows, the other contestants, it was pretty clear that me especially had a lot of really good practice for the show. So I think it was a huge advantage.
It wasn't for me though for the first. Go ahead.
You could probably build with less density, so you can build a shape without having just pile every brick on it. You can build a good core, and there's techniques in that. And that's good to know. All right, I believe we have another question here. Coming from being wonderful builders in real life, what's your assessment of the show? Is it just a TV entertainment or an actual tool to drive people into being creative? That's a great question. What is y'all's opinion?
Good question. It kind of depends on the person. Assessment of the show. Is it TV entertainment? Well, first of all, it's very entertaining. It's very entertaining to watch a creation, explode, which you guys saw all in the trailers, and stuff like that. It's very fun to see that. It's not quite practical for learning about Legos. Yeah, exactly. However,
it's only entertaining when it's not yours. You spent 20 hours building it.
It's
only entertaining when it's not yours.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. But I'll say for episode 1, and since no one went home, episode 2 a little bit as well. They didn't show it in episode 1, but they had a lot of cool info stuff from like Jamie specifically, and Amy too, obviously. Talking to Will, they do like a little side interview in the corner where they talk about a technique or something, talk about something more in depth. I don't know how many of those are actually going to go in like episode 2. I don't know if they're going to talk about that. But those did come up. And I won't go into any more spoilers, but they are trying. They're really trying to promote Lego as a creative thing, I think. But they are making it very entertaining, a lot like a game show. It is a game show at its core.
Yeah.
But I think they're doing a good job for what they have.
Hopefully they'll merge more technical as the show progresses. We'll see. 'Cause I like to see more of that.
Smart man.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. Let's see. Oh, here's a question here from the chat. How difficult was it to build under pressure and with a time limit?
I guess I'll get that one. It was very difficult. Steve and I are used to building, at least a few days on a medium-sized mock. So this is a very large mock in
no time.
Basically a day and a half of building. So it's like
it goes by so fast.
Yeah, so it's very different from what we prefer to do, and it's a lot of high pressure because it's our first time being on this kind of stage. There's like 30 multi-million-dollar cameras all around everybody.
At any time, there's 30 of them
and,
around.
And so it's this gigantic LED clock that's the size of a wall up in the ceiling that's telling you exactly how much time you have till you're done. And so it's the pressure is real. And I think if you know me and you know Steven, you can tell that we look really tired and like freaked out, but we're also you can tell in our voices we're just as nervous as we've ever been. So it's absolutely insane and intense. All teams were feeling that freak out terror.
It's kind of cool at the same time, but also distracting and terrifying and overwhelming. So yeah.
Well, and speaking of that, our friend Moto, which he's always a cool cucumber. He's really when they were interviewing him and talking to him, you could hear his voice shaking. Now, had I run that much, I would be passed out on the floor. So that's a whole different story. But I mean, Moto seemed like really, really shaken and everything. Were y'all feeling that too, or?
I said everybody. I don't think there was one calm person in that entire room, especially on the first episode. We were all completely new experience for us. Literally, you could go to any convention, you could go to any contest, you could be on online contest, Iron Builder, you name it. And it's nothing compared to this. This is on a whole new level. Yeah, literally, all of us were terrified.
Now, and I will say that I think I saw a little bit of what they're doing with Moto. Since I know him, I noticed they kept showing his build falling over, and y'all reacting to it, which I know that's all kind of connived and everything.
A little bit.
But was it happening though, where you're like, "Oh, dude, what's going on over there?" Or
so what's interesting is if something fell over, it would happen really fast. So if something went crash, we'd all kind of go like. We mostly just be you just look and what was that? Okay, it's nothing. So we kind of keep going because you're just so focused. Motos, but you can tell really quickly, especially if you built Legos, oh, that's actually not a big deal. It just fell over, or something like that. It's not a big disaster. They play the the music, like you see something fall over, or whatever. No. So yes and no. Like the reactions were pretty genuine. They ended a lot though. There's a couple times where I'm just kind of looking around, like, did something break? You know what? But I'm actually resting my eyes and kind of like looking further away so that I don't have to force at something. So it's a lot of editing. Let's just say that.
There's times when I think they actually got us a couple of times with this too, where like somebody will have something good or bad happen to them, and they show a reaction either like we're upset that something good or bad, or happy that
like in the judging.
That definitely wasn't the case. Everyone was really excited and happy for the other team members.
For each other the whole time. So they made it look a little more dramatic. So we'll just say that.
So they would add a little scene from a different part of the filming to make it more dramatic. And I think even Boone talked about this at length. They did that with season 1 too. It's just for the show.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that's not there.
We know you're making it to episode 2. I know you're not schlubs of builders. I'm gonna make some assumptions that you're making it further than that. But how has this changed your building style after you've left? Are you building differently now?
I'm trying to use more color. I'm trying to use more weird colors that I haven't used before. Like I used dark teal in a creation recently, and I'm using like the dots colors. I bought a few dot sets. I never would have done that, but before the show. So I'm like, hey, these are really good parts. So yeah, for me, it's color. I'm using more color, and I'm trying to expand on that because, I made the seahorse and a few other things. But normally I stick to castle colors. So it's nice to branch out. It's very fun, actually.
So I've only made one creation since one major creation since.
Very on topic too.
Yeah, but it's like I couldn't get away from the fact I was thinking about how long I was spending on it, which is something I never even considered doing before. So it's like how many hours? Oh, okay, it's only been 6. Okay, it's not.
Grab it.
Oh, I'll grab it really quick, show you guys. But it was like I was keeping track in my mind. Like, okay, that's been, and I'm like.
Watching the time.
I don't have to do this anymore. It's silly. I'll grab it. He's over there.
Show him. It's pretty strong.
As I said, you're going to need to recondition yourselves to not be worried about how long it's taking.
The therapeutic nature of Lego can come back.
Yeah, go back to enjoying it as it is.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that would be like just get so stressed out that you don't want to build it. Oh man, that is awesome.
Yeah.
8 hours.
This was 9 hours.
Wow.
Jeez.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Are you focusing? Have you found yourself focusing more on small little details or the larger macro build?
Probably a little bit of both because you want some detail, but you also want it to have some scale. So kind of both.
I got you. All right, I had a question. Let me find it again. Oh, there it is, right there. How long was it between when you showed up and started prepping before the first challenge?
Well, as far as day schedules, so there was about a week of different things going on before we started actually filming when we got there in Atlanta. But at the same time, like if you're talking about the day of filming, we would show up very early in the morning because especially if the more teams there are, the more time it takes to prepare, right? Mm-hmm. So we show up very early. Everyone gets their hair, their faces done up, make sure they change in their outfits, and that takes 3 or 4 hours for 24 people.
Yeah, to get all your makeup.
Especially the ladies, they get their hair done.
It's
just
more
right.
advanced. It's just more advanced.
They have more effort put into that. So then by the time that's all done, we get over to the set. We hang out there for a little bit, like kind of a holding
maybe
area.
like 10 minutes.
We go over to the filming area. We take off all the PPE to get all the cameras ready. So then it's about a good 5 or 6 hours from arrival to filming, and then you film for a long period of time. Take a lunch break, film for a long period of time, and then
they were long days. Let's just say that. Yeah, very long days. So,
It's pretty a rigorous schedule. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll be curious. The questions asked later about because I know from interviewing that the filming time was shorter, and so I'm going to get you going into that kind of stuff because you can't now, and all that kind of stuff. How all that stuff figures out. So maybe we'll talk about that. You should have just said that out loud, man.
Oh, he had so much trouble with it. Oh my word! It's so humid in Georgia compared to Colorado.
Oh, jeez.
Out like crazy. That poor guy.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I wonder. So that begs a great question. How did because I heard y'all kind of doing the in joke on one of your interviews about temperatures and stuff. Y'all did the cast together on Moto's show. which was amazing. I need to go back and finish watching it, but it was awesome to see how y'all were loving on each other. But so it is. I mean, I know when it was filmed. So it was getting warm and humid around a little bit. How did people from other parts of the country deal with the Georgia weather when y'all were filming?
So I got this.
Go ahead.
So Georgia's spring. You guys, most of you guys know. Some of you guys are out of town.
For those of you who don't,
basically, it starts out like in the evenings. It gets cold, not as cold as some places, but it'll be like 30s and 40s, which is Fahrenheit, not Celsius. And then it then warms up to about 70 or 80 at the end of the day. So there's a huge change in temperature.
Huge roller coaster.
And the studio didn't really have a lot of AC control. So you go in, and it's very cold. It's maybe 40 degrees, and then by the end of the day, it's probably about 77 in there. And so it's like, and so in the morning you're freezing, and in the evenings you're too hot. So
it's just the nature.
It made it even an extra challenge on top of all the other stresses of being on show. So it was.
It could get really cool.
It got a little bit better in the second episode. It started easing up, but
they started getting the logistics better for us.
Yeah, so initially it was very drastic change.
Yeah, the temperatures were nuts. We'll just say
that would have been an advantage because if I sweat that much, I don't have to pee as much. So that would have been that would have evened some things out for me if we'd have made it on the show.
But it was a bit of a walk to the studio from the place where we would like get makeup and eat and stuff like that. So it was a bit of a maybe like not even a minute's walk if you wanted to. You're walking quickly, you do it in like 20 seconds, but it was a bit of a there was some distance. And if it was cold, then the ladies in their dresses and the guys in their short sleeve shirts, whatever, it's hard. I'm sorry, it can get really hard. So that was something.
Cool deal. All right, anybody else got a question for these guys? We were really, I enjoyed your builds. Anybody want in the room? I mean, I mentioned mine on Bricksmith's show that I would build if I would have done it. I mean, we would have built a planet. Dana would have figured out the mechanics to make it spin and a rocket ship swooshing around it, maybe a lunar surface, and us as astronauts maybe out front. That would have been, we would have thrown down the space gauntlet then early, and that might have, whatever. That was my thought. I think Dana, you kind of agreed.
Oh yeah, no, because when you talked about it, I was like, absolutely, it would have been the planet rotating and then the spaceship going counterclockwise. So it would have been trying to figure that out, and then just having something out with us static or whatever in the front. With a Loonscape or maybe even a moon base that it was over. I don't know. We would have gone crazy with it.
Yeah,
for sure.
That'd be cool. All right.
Or an old gray brick.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is I was listening to Steven saying something about, changing his colors up and building with different colors because of that. And I think that Chris and I would have definitely been hard pressed to, we would have been locked into that. It's blue, it's gray.
Yeah.
Can we get more trans yellow?
Wait, hey, were there space engines and canopies? Because if there were no space engines and canopies, I'm out. So
there was a few windscreens / canopies, but not very many.
So not much.
You would probably have to build some with bricks or something.
I had to get creative.
Yeah, we would have had to go, like old school when kids were building Star Wars sets before there were Star Wars sets where everything was blocky and chunky and just go big. Would have probably, it wouldn't have been a canopy. It would have been yellow bricks.
Yeah,
symbolizing a canopy or something like that. We're probably going to we would have had to go with. So,
by the way, that'll be our team name next year. You'll be blocky and I'll be chunky. So anyway, all right. Anybody else around want to say what you would have built with a teammate for the challenge of the motion and the float? Anybody else want to pop an idea out there?
I just want to admit I haven't seen it yet because I'm holding out to watch it with my kids. So
I'm just going to be broadcast in the Great White North.
Well, it's already. I've already got the ability to see it here. I just have to wait
one for you
Monday. Anyway, but so
spoiler alert. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I threw out that I would do Space Pirates.
Space Pirates.
Space Pirates float.
And it was. I'm assuming that the mock is supposed to describe you. Is that the theory? So would Rich just build a small parts room?
Yeah.
He just builds drawers of parts filled with real parts, and then that would the drawers pop coming out.
No one would have got that except people who were like us. Like no one else would have understood that.
The public might not have understood that to the full extent.
No, the producers been like, "What are you guys making?"
Oh wait, I got a quick question. And I hate to deviate for a second. So, of the cast members, I mean, you can see the ones that are definitely true hardcore AFOLs.
Mm-hmm.
But then it seemed like there's a few people on there who aren't as hardcore AFOLs. What was your thought on that, or do you have anything to comment or can comment? I don't know.
Real quick. I think that I think you nail on the head there, because some people were like super AFOL community involved, and then some people were like totally had never heard of it. They just were good at building Lego, and they had just got on the show. So there was a every degree of that spectrum was there. So.
Yeah.
So maybe that is kind of a thing, because I know we've seen what the cast look like from season 1, the cast from season 2, and there is definitely some check boxes that are being done when they're casting, and so maybe that is one of those check boxes is like, hey, let's get somebody who's not an AFOL who just happens to like Lego, and we'll throw them in there and see if they sink or swim. So
would that be the older brother and sister?
They were actually pretty involved. So it's just kind of would surprise you at who is involved or not involved. I would say Zach and Wayne were less involved with the community than some of the others.
They won first,
even though they clearly have no trouble building great stuff. So
yeah.
I
think that it's safe to say that there's a healthy community of people that really do enjoy Lego, whether it's sets or doing their own thing, just playing with their kids.
Yeah.
Who really aren't involved in the Lego and know the cool, like the trends and the styles and the presentation you can have with Lego and the community and the contests and the conventions. They kind of hear about them, but they don't actually participate. I think there's a good amount of people who are like that.
You run into a lot of those people who have come to Brick Fair, Virginia, or other conventions who are like, "Oh, this is very cool. We build with Lego, blah blah blah," and then you never see them again.
Yeah,
ever.
But they're actually really talented.
Yeah. I assume that the husband and wife with the sheep, that they would probably fall into that where they're not as connected.
No.
Oh, really? Okay.
They're the most involved.
They knew who Mark was.
So they go to Brickworld Chicago every year. In fact, they participated in the big Eurobricks displays.
Mm-hmm.
So like the life-size tent, the life-size tree, they're
Maria sewed the tent.
Oh,
so
wow.
So they're the keystone of that whole building team, which is like one of the most prestigious groups in the world. So it's like they just they're used to building at a slower pace, like we are. They're used to building at a smaller scale. So I think that some of the parameters of the challenge caught them off guard for this episode. It's really would surprise you who is involved and who isn't involved.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Well, that is interesting. So I'm curious to see how they will fare going forward, because I've kind of mentally locked them in like, yeah, we're not going to see much of them. But now that I know that they may come back out and surprise us, so that's cool.
Exactly. No spoilers. And that's the problem with such a short airtime. You don't really get to hear their whole backstory, or even like you don't even necessarily get to see that they were having a bad day for certain reasons. You just know that their build wasn't their best, and it's like they get less than a minute of airtime. You don't know. So,
yeah,
right.
It is a shame.
Right. Was it Natalie and Michelle that did the paint cans one?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Absolutely blew me out of the water because I wasn't expecting that.
That was a really build.
Little backstory. They were in the corner, the very back corner on one of the last. It's random draw. The tables are a random draw, by the way. So we're in the very back corner, and we're just building. We're building. We look up halfway. We see it almost done. We're like, where did that come from? It was just like we didn't know about that build until way later in that episode, and we're like, man, that's good. Like it literally came out of nowhere for us too.
Yeah, and using the chains for paint dripping off, that was so good. I was like, wow. I mean, Jake and I were watching, and he's like, Dad, that's really good. I'm like, it is, son. I mean, everybody's, and although he did say, when I get old enough, we can do it together. I'm like, okay. Well, then you get to clean in my Lego room. We can build some more. Anyways, we did have a question in the chat here. He's not watching anymore. Did they give you a tour of the bins, the brick pit, and everything, so you get an idea, or did you just like it's in there, go get them? I mean, how did that happen?
Pretty much, we're just like the pieces are over there. Bricks and plates over there. Oh no,
these pieces
plates over
here.
there, slopes and bricks over here.
Base plates.
They actually gave us on the Surface tablet. They had a little key of where everything was and where it should be. Most people did not utilize that, including us. So we went over and we had to kind of learn where all the pieces were. So that was a little bit of a challenge as well. You didn't want to waste too much time looking for stuff. Apparently there were turntables, although most of us couldn't find them. Stuff like that. Things like that. So it was interesting.
Yeah, it took us forever to find the the animal body parts, like the horns and stuff. You know, like it was near the end of the episode 1 that we're like, okay, we have teeth pieces. Let's use these. You know, like that's literally how it happened. So yeah, I love stuff like that.
Cool deal. All right. Anybody else have anything you want to ask? All right. So you've had some time though. I want to go around the panel. What else? I want to know, Maddie, what you would have and your brother would have built for the challenge. What would y'all have done?
So I think we would have done something food related and with like our family, because you know, I have 4 brothers and that's basically all they did was Lego when we were growing up. And then like food was just kind of like you know, what got us all together. And I was thinking like food balloons, you know, like a Macy's Day Parade float kind of situation. My brother's the one who's able to do like the mechanical stuff. And I wanted to say, you know, when they interviewed us for season 2, they were really surprised that, you know, my brother had never posted a single photo of his build. We've never been to conventions. We literally started adult Legoing because of the pandemic, and they were like, "Oh, that's so crazy. That's like really cool." But yeah, I think we would do food.
That's cool. That would have been awesome. It would have been different, and you would have had lots of opportunities for colors. Would you have built a drink box with a lady on it, like you had a couple? Anyway, all right, go.
Oh yeah, the coconut milk. Yeah. Or it would have been fun to do because the thing that I remember building the most with my brothers was like a gumball machine. So like something where it would be mechanical. So maybe balls would come out with
firing out
gumballs, like roll down. It would roll down like a thing, and each ball would.
That would have been cool.
You can use the globes from the old AquaZone sets and like put
little
stuff
great
in
ball
them.
contraption thing going on there. That would have been really cool.
That would have been GBC.
Yeah. All right, Adrian. I need to know. I need to know, man. What would you have done? Adrian, you build big, so.
Well, I liked your idea of the planet with the orbiting. You know, I mean, I work for NASA, so it would seem like it'd be one of those things I would do. But you know, much like Jeff, I have not seen the episode yet. But
okay.
So I don't know what other people have built. But I think as I've been sitting here listening to all this, I would probably do my wife and I on bicycles. Like build a bike, and then the motion would be the pedaling of the feet and the turning of the wheels.
That would have been pretty cool.
That would have been pretty cool.
That's kind of what because it's one of those things. Actually, I've wanted to build a Lego bike, like a life-size Lego bike, and I've just never gotten around to it. So it would be something I could like start a little smaller and go that way. But something like that. But I would probably it would be very hard for me to resist, like you were saying, Chris, resist doing something space related. It would be very hard to resist.
Well,
so
that's when we talk
spinning on a float. Is that what you're saying? Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, maybe.
There you go.
But although I did think about I thought about your planet rotating in one way and your ship rotating in the other way. I was just sitting. I think I know how I would do that with the Technic motors too.
Yeah,
so.
I hope. But he would have to come up with that because I would not.
I still want to do that actually because as you know, when you said that, I'm like, now I got to freaking do it.
Yeah, because I've got a lot of experience with Technic mode. I mean, it's been back in the old days of my building, you know, like early 2000s, and I did a series of roller coaster rides. And the last one that I did was one of those gravity drop rides, you know, where the car goes up and then it goes over and then it slides down the track and then resets. I did one of those that was controlled by 2 Mindstorms bricks.
Wow.
So I've got that's old G stuff right there. Yeah. So I've got some of that technical stuff. And I mean, I'm an engineer, so it's like this stuff I do. I almost cursed, Chris. That's the stuff I do for a living. So it's like, I'd be totally down with a moving technical model.
All right.
Wait, you didn't hit John. You didn't hit John. John.
Yeah, John. Jeff, what would y'all do? John, what would you build? What would you think?
See, this is hard for me because I build Disney models, right? And like Fox is owned by Disney now, so like, but still, I think I get yelled at is the thing. So I either have to do history and like it would be the history end, but history doesn't move that much. A bunch of dead people, you don't do much with that. So
Battleship brain.
I build architecture, so this challenge would have really hit me hard, right? Like, what do? I have no clue because it's not a building.
You build
do a
globe.
steam engine chugging into Gettysburg Station.
Oh, God.
That's right. You can build the General, which is housed here in Kennesaw, Georgia. Let me ask you a question. I know there will be a licensed build. You were talking about that there are not as many. Were y'all told you cannot use licensed characters in your build? Is that what part of the rules, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the first season had the Star Wars build. Like in that case, is like, yes, please build Star Wars.
Yeah,
but for the most of the time, they're like, no licensed product at all. We want original stuff. So.
Yeah, for this, especially the first episode, like we had a meeting before we started filming. Like, okay, unless we tell you, no licensed products. So that's basically what the rule was.
This is not Tigger, it's Tiger. So
Exactly.
All right, Ben Winden, what would you build, man?
No idea. Partially because I wouldn't know who my partner would be in this, right? Like, but I mean, like, I would assume, Janie, if you're listening, I'm assuming Janie and I would probably partner up because we're good builders together.
That would be good.
I build across the board, like miniature architecture, space, castle, town, train. So I don't know what would describe me. So that would be a stumper right from the beginning. And
big maple leaf.
Big maple. Well, yeah. What was that, Rich?
Space pirates.
Space pirates again.
Space pirates.
Not only Jeff, do you build across the board, you also build north of the border. So we are excited that you're
so if Lego Masters Canada ever happens, I'll give it a go. But
Well, that begs the question: would they? I wonder if they would have let Canadians, because Simon Liu was talking about it a little bit. Okay, so I wonder if Canadians could have joined in. Could it be, North America rather than
for season 1? Janie was contacted and interviewed because they were looking for someone like female builder, I'm guessing, or something along those lines. And she might have been able to actually do it, but she just couldn't physically do it. Just got it because for that
logistics,
logistics and stuff like that. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, so I know at least one Canadian was contacted the past.
That's cool.
But I mean, CTV is the station that's picked it up here in Canada, and The Amazing Race originally came out in the States, and they have an Amazing Race Canada, and it was done by CTV as well, and it was a Fox property, I think, from the beginning as well. So I think it's quite possible that. There's a possibility that there might be a Canadian version at some point. So
this seems very Canadian. So do you know what this means?
I think she would build a legalized version of that fry machine from Chester. Yes, in her hometown, you put $2 in the machine and it deep fries French fries, and they are the best thing ever. And there's probably only like 5 of these machines in North America left.
Well, that makes me want to go to Canada now, I can tell you.
Road trip.
That's the only thing that's in Chesley, though. So, I mean...
Is it just French fries, or does it come poutinized?
No, it's just regular fries.
I'll
take them. Delicious.
Anyway, all right. We're starting to bump up on a couple of hours. I haven't heard. I think Boone is going to have his show in a little bit. I hadn't seen announcements.
No. Actually, his show was canceled this week due to technical difficulties.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then, but we're still going to end. So make sure. I hadn't had supper yet. All I had is a cookie.
Oh, no. Really? Oh, yikes.
Well,
I got pork chops getting ready before we get down here, too. So
I will say, if you watch me eating a cookie today, I got it from a very nice young lady who was at our farmer's market that we hosted in downtown. And it was Mexican chocolate with some cayenne in it. And there was a point where that cayenne went the wrong direction while y'all were talking. I'm like, so I was dying. I mean, it was delicious, though. So, hey, guys, thank y'all for joining us today. You guys are always welcome. You'll always get an invite. Come back anytime. We won't do Brickmasters probably every week, obviously, because there's a lot of talking about it. But we were excited to see the show back on. Jake and I piled down here, and we were all jazzed. And it's really awesome, the personal touch, knowing you guys and representing the great state of Georgia. So thank y'all for doing that so well, and we're excited.
Can we ask them, not for spoilers, and we'll do this on the fly or whatever, but when you guys do finally, wherever your time is done, can we have you back after that?
I think that's
Yeah,
I think that can be
for sure.
managed. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so there we go. So we got that on the plate.
So next week they'll be back. No.
No spoilers. No, no way. But
no, we can arrange that.
Yeah, like assuming we make it another episode or two, we'll be happy to be back with you guys.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And guys, thank you so much for having us. I know we kind of took over, and
that was the whole point
about what. So.
No, that's what we wanted you here for.
Yeah, that's what we wanted.
But it's really fun. It's so much fun to connect with people. We haven't seen a lot of you in so long, and Chris, Dana, we haven't seen you guys in years. Almost feels like. A lot of other people, me specifically. I've felt really isolated from the community, so it's really nice to catch up with everybody and meet new people and have so much fun. Thank you so much.
So on Saturday, the 26th of this month, we gathering at Atlanta Brick Company. I know one of you is there a lot, but if both of you that'd be great to see y'all. And anybody listening, it is a Saturday, yeah.
Then I'll probably be there.
Great, that'd be awesome, super great. So. Hope to see y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. We had a great crowd and a lot of conversation going on today. So we're great group of folks watching us today. So grateful for you guys. Hey guys, have a great night. Be creative. Be awesome. Love on your neighbor and build some space like the Disney guy down there did. That's pretty awesome. Have a great night. See y'all later. Bye.
Bye.